particularly dangerous in very young and very old people.
So this is something to look out for. Tell me, how did they isolate this to meat?
Now, hundreds of millions of eggs are being recalled after several hundred people became sick.
And was infected with the virulent strain of E. coli.
It felt like killer pain, and my organs started to shut.
Kids and teens consume more corn-sweetened soft drinks than any other age group, and that makes them much more likely to develop diabetes.
America's agricultural progress has led to several unintended consequences. The invention of pesticides and insecticides during World War II allowed farmers to yield more crops. The Nixon administration wanted to encourage this production by adding new farm policies replacing the New Deal reforms. These new farming laws encouraged agribusiness, direct payment to farmers, and a food chain based on corn made cheap due to subsidies. Farmers began overgrowing the inexpensive crop to maximize profits, which has led to the use of corn in several aspects of the American diet. Substituting high fructose corn syrup for natural cane sugar yields foods that are cheaper and less healthy. This trend of cheap corn in agribusiness has created mass corporations and a decline in small farmers. In America today, there are 2 million farmers that feed over 298 million Americans. Big corporations send their CEOs or representatives to speak in Congress and advocate for food laws with little opposition. Companies keep their behind-the-scenes work hidden from consumers and are working to pass laws that will make it illegal for people to capture footage of factory farms and processing plants. Billions of dollars are spent on ads to continue to attract customers, despite the information being released by the media. McDonald's spends over $2 billion a year in advertising. Some ads are used to hype up new or returning menu items. For example, the McRib is only offered for part of the year so that many people feel the urgency to go in and eat as many McRibs as possible in the short amount of time they're available. Other ads are created to target their main consumers, children. Happy Meal toys and the mascot Ronald McDonald are some of McDonald's strategies to attract children to their products. McDonald's success started when it became the first restaurant to apply the factory system to the production of food. The restaurant's popularity grew because of its uniformity, cheap prices, speed, and conformity. On every road trip, there's always a McDonald's that can be recognized by the golden arches. There's always the same menu and the same prices. Every McDonald's has a dollar menu.
But no matter how much I change, I know I can count on McDonald's Dollar Menu. Dollar Menu, always the great taste I want, always a great price.
In 1948, only 8 years after opening its first restaurant, McDonald's started the trend of centralized and industrialized agriculture, and other food companies followed. In the 1970s, there were thousands of slaughterhouses in the U.S. Today, there are only 13. The same uniformity and conformity that is used on agriculture is now used on living animals as well. Antibiotics are used to make the animals grow faster and not get sick from living in close contact with one another and in each other's filth. 70% of antibiotics in this country are given to livestock, which in return can cause human illness. Eric Schlosser, the author of Fast Food Nation, says that the industrialized system of agriculture is like a bad science fiction movie. The workers in the meatpacking industry are also treated poorly. They have no benefits, low pay, and high risk of injury. He describes these workers as disposable, considering their high turnover rate, and says they have been thrown away like the wrapper of a Big Mac. E. coli and salmonella are both bacteria that can be found in our food. Salmonella can be very serious in older adults, infants, and people with chronic illnesses. Different strains of E. coli range from harmful to fatal. The worst type of E. coli is known as E. coli 0157H7. The risk of food poisoning from bacteria such as E. coli and salmonella has risen over the past years because of the way our food is made and the lack of food safety inspections.
was talking to the leadership at the Department of Agriculture last night about this, and every processing plant has someone from the Department of Agriculture. But the companies do testing for bacteria, and they don't have to report those results to the USDA, who are in their plants. If USDA wants to review the records, they can, but the company, they can't sell a product that has live bacteria. They can cook that meat and sell it in another product.
A study in 2001 found that 20% of ground meat obtained in supermarkets contained salmonella. In 1972, the FDA conducted 50,000 food safety inspections. In 2006, they conducted 9,164. That statistic is only for domestic foods. Foreign foods are a different story.
99% of the food that you're buying at the grocery store that comes from foreign countries has not been inspected by the FDA.
Food poisoning can happen to anyone. On her 9th birthday in 2006, Riley Gustafson ate a spinach salad and became infected with a virulent strain of E.Coli. Riley spent 30 days in the hospital on dialysis. Today, she has a damaged heart, kidney, and vocal cords as a result of the food poisoning. Over the last few years, there have been widespread outbreaks in spinach, tomatoes, peppers, and peanut products. Every year, there are 76 million cases of foodborne illnesses, resulting in 325,000 hospitalizations and 5,000 deaths. Fast food and processed food are making Americans obese and putting them at risk of developing type 2 diabetes, also known as adult-onset diabetes. When people have type 2 diabetes, their body does not respond correctly to insulin. As a result, blood sugar does not get into cells to be stored for energy, which makes abnormally high levels of sugar build up in the blood. People who are overweight are more likely to have insulin resistance because fat interferes with the body's ability to use insulin. In America, 2 out of 3 adults are obese or overweight. Most studies prove that if you are obese at the age of 13, you will most likely be obese your whole life. It is estimated that 1 out of 3 children born in 2000 will develop diabetes. It is also estimated that 1 out of every 2 children living under the poverty line will develop diabetes. In comparison, junk foods are a lot cheaper than produce and other healthy options. This is a result of corn subsidies, which has made high fructose corn syrup cheaper than natural cane sugar. Fast food restaurants, sugary cereal companies, and other processed food companies disregard these facts and continue to gear their advertisements towards kids. It's hard to know what solution will ultimately fix our nation's food problems. Individuals can do their part to add to a solution by eating locally grown foods. On average, food travels over 1,500 miles to get to our plates. Eating locally reduces the amount of gas used to transport food. Eating locally also helps the local economy and gives consumers knowledge about where their food is coming from. Another helpful alternative is to eat non-processed foods, which would reduce the demand for high fructose corn syrup. Lastly is eating organic. Organic produce is grown without the use of pesticides, synthetic fertilizers, or genetically modified organisms. Animals that are considered organic do not take antibiotics or growth hormones. Meet Christina. She's the founder of Raw Fully Organic, a produce co-op located in Houston. Here's her take on the whole issue.
I believe that corporate America has I think that them and the government got something going on that's keeping people sick, but to make a story short, if the government is funding corporate America, and if corporate America is funding fast food chains, and fast food chains have all these power, right, and then you see the pharmaceutical companies and the fast food chains teaming up together, it's like, all right, they're basically formulating for people to be sick all the time. So it's like they send them to get the bad food, they get sick, they go to the doctor, they buy more medicine. Send them to the doctor to get bad food, go to the doctor to get more medicine. It's a vicious cycle until you die, literally, until you die. The easiest way to get out of it, I would be for people to literally get back to the roots. They need to be buying from co-ops and supporting local farmers and growing their own food. They need to either be growing their food or not buying it elsewhere, because otherwise they're going to get sick. You really can't trust very many products anymore. If it's in a package, you don't want it.